SoulCircle. It is a good morning. I'm Steven.
I'm Candice, and we're for Arcana, Mind, Body, Spirit here in Toronto, Canada. We want to start the morning off with saying how grateful and how appreciative we are of all of you who have tuned in every morning so far to join us during the weeks to live that high vibe life and live with intention. And we love reading your comments. We love all the likes and the DMs. We really appreciate it. And everyone who's viewing out there, I really hope that this is helping your life. Please reach out to us on our website, on our YouTube channel, on Facebook, Instagram.
All the things.
We're there. All the places. You can find us there, Arcana, Mind, Body, Spirit. And we have lots of videos, lots of content, more to come. And of course, our morning videos for June, where we work on living that high vibe life.
Bam!
So, yesterday, doing our work honestly.
Yes. Oh boy.
So, Steven, should I start or do you want to start?
Candice, how was your day yesterday?
Well, I will be completely honest with everybody because that's the point. And yesterday was not the best day of my life. Far from. It was a rough day. All of the technology in my home stopped working. Once I got it to work, then it just couldn't get into any programs. Nothing was happening. My daughter couldn't, I just had to put it aside because it started becoming like a level of frustration that I was not interested in pursuing any further after over an hour of being on the phone and trying to figure it out with whatever. So my daughter didn't even end up going to school yesterday, and that's that. Moving on. I had a work day that was a little bit frustrating, dealing with just people that I can't even be mad at because I don't even think that they're like, I don't think that they're well. So they're dealing with what they need to deal with. But it was just a lot. It was a lot in the day. Nothing was working. I also felt really bad. I think I have heat stroke. So it was just really bad. I did not feel good. But I certainly wasn't hiding it. So
No, you did it very honestly.
Yeah, I was like, here I am. This is what you're getting. And when it was too much, I was like, bye. See you later. Yeah, it was great. You know, my sweet, loving daughter was really awesome. And she was just, she could tell I was in a mood. So she was like doing all these things because she was at school. She's like, oh, I can wash the dishes. I can take the garbage out. Sorry, guys. I can do all of these things. So it was really sweet.
That's nice.
Tell her mom the vibe. So we ended up, it's just watching some shows together, getting my AC put in today. Thank the Lord. Thank the goddess. Thank the moon and the stars, because it is hot like an oven in here also. So yeah, yesterday was definitely a day of being really honest. So
Raw is the word you're looking for.
Blood, sweat, blood, and tears were had up in here, let me tell you. So, Steven, what about you? How was your day of honest work?
I would say that out of the 5 Gokai principles, this is always one that prompts the most self-reflection for me every time. So I really plugged myself into work. I did my work to the best of my capability. I showed up for everything that came my way. And I probably ended up working about 13 hours yesterday. So what ends up happening for me is I have very poor regulation and forget about myself. when I'm trying to sort of do my literal job work honestly. So it always ends up prompting all of these processes in me, like, is this what I'm asking for? Is this what I want? Am I in the best field? Is this the best place? Like, these are the sort of things that start going through my mind all the time whenever I really prompt doing the work honestly. Now, outside of career, I did a lot of nice things yesterday that were about making phone calls to people who I would like to be a bit more present for, I guess, like to honor different relationships a little bit differently. Just some of our, like, you know, household chores around the house, cooking and cleaning and washing, like sort of making time and honoring what that means for me. Why is it important to have clean clothes, Steve? Why is that? Like, just simple things. And I sort of found a little more honor in those small things rather than it being a chore. So generally, whenever I focus on this Gokai for the day, these are always my thought processes. They're like small thoughts, but the big thoughts. That's always the way for me on this one. So I always take it as like the medicine that I need. And especially right now, as you're talking about like technology not working and stuff like that, we are in a huge retrograde right now. So it's like, some things may just have a bit more miscommunication. Some things may just have a little bit harder technology things happening. Some things just might not go as planned. Anyways, I personally like retrograde. There's one retrograde, like the first one of the year is usually a little bit harder one for me generally, but I like retrograde because for me it's a lot about like going inside and trying to like, you're confronted by so much stuff, so you get to see where your shadow is like oozing out from you, right? So for me, I kind of like this space. I don't mind it. If I had to live in this space all year, that's haunting. That's a little harder, but yeah. Otherwise, I feel pretty good about the work we did yesterday. I'm excited to move forward today. Is there anything that you'd like to say before we jump into our Gokai today, Candice?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to remind everybody who's out there that like we are normal people,
Yeah.
normal, I don't know, whatever that means, but like common folk, you know, like I'm not, this is everything to me, this as an arcana, but you know, I still have all of the daily pressures of being a single parent, and I'm still in a city that's in lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm alone, and it's not like I have the ability to just, you know, go for a quick jog or jaunt or a walk to cool off and stuff. My daughter's still too young for me to be able to do those things. So sometimes the doing the work can look a little different because you don't have the ability to step back and always take a look because the day keeps rolling, and I'm trying to balance, and I'm sure a lot of other people are, but I'm not talking about other people, I'm talking about me. I'm sure a lot of people and myself are balancing, trying to live high vibrational life, live intentionally, but you're also sitting in front of a computer for the day that's dinging and beeping at you, and your phone is ringing, and your kid wants a snack, and you know, all of the things are happening. You have to really seek out those moments to take a break. And sometimes those things come 30 minutes before I need to go to bed so that I can wake up in the morning and do it all over again and try not to be miserable. No, try not to be grouchy, or try not to be short, and try not to be frustrated, and try to be able to like remember and find that space. So it's not like we're expecting or thinking that everyone has all day to you know, take a pondering stroll.
Yeah.
I don't have time to take a pondering stroll. If I did, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now this morning. And I'd have to do it with my daughter and be talking, communicating, which is fine, which is lovely. But again, talking about like a solitude, like a moment for yourself and alone, sometimes those moments are hard to find. And I just want to make sure that people are knowing that that's not an expectation to live with intention. and that every day is not going to be a day where you're, you know, consciously receiving every message from the bluebird on your windowsill. It doesn't look like
right.
okay. It doesn't. Not every day, but those days do come, and you're still being aware, and you can be aware of the day that you had and look back on it when the moments while it's happening are hard, and it does get easier, and you will catch yourself in those moments. And that's it. You know, like if I think about the times where I would have a day like yesterday, maybe 4 years ago, it would have been very different.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been definitely more negative, and it would have been actually a hard day. So
Yeah.
when I say a hard day now, it's just like an inconvenient day where I didn't get longer moments of conscious being in the space, right?
Yeah.
Because I was just doing all the things over and over and constantly here while also being irritated.
Yeah. Well, we have MJ out there sending her love to you today. Hi, MJ.
Aww.
She's
Thanks,
sending
MJ.
her love.
Love your morning messages, MJ. You're the best.
Yeah, she said she's driving, but she's going to catch the replay later. She's loving the work that we're doing. So, hi, MJ. All right, so let's begin to settle on down. Put your tailbone right on that floor. Feel the earth that holds underneath you. We'll start with our Gokai prayer. Bringing our hands up, palms touching, about 30-degree angle with our elbows. Finding all the places where your hands connect to each other, your fingers, every line of your palm. Either letting your eyes close or staring directly at the tips of your middle fingers. Kyo dake wa ikaruna, shinpai suna, kanshashite, kyo hagime, hito ni shinsetsu ni. Just for today, I will be happy. Just for today, I will be free of worry. Just for today, I will be grateful for my many blessings. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will honor my neighbor and all living things. It's a nice place to start in the morning, I'd say.
Absolutely.
All right, so for today, we're going to be focusing on the fifth Gokai, which is just for today, I will honor my neighbor and all living things. I always find it very interesting that almost every pantheon of faith, regardless of what you worship, whatever even your self-practice is, even if it's New Age, philosophical, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Non-denominational, I guess. Every sort of belief system has the same kind of tenets, the same commandments, the same here Gokai. There's a lot of the same principles. And how many different places in religion do we find honoring your neighbor, honoring those around you, honoring? This is a huge tenet of life forever and ever, for as long as we've been here. The wisest people have preached to honor each other. So I want to take a moment and talk about what honor can mean. I have this little story I'd like to tell. Now, as you know, it was my birthday this week, and I have this client of mine who I've been working with for about 15 years, and maybe a bunch of years ago now, she moved away to Europe, and she was living there. And over the years, like, we meet at different events around the world, we still dance together, we still have this very nice relationship. Every single year on my birthday, she, without fail, I will always receive a handwritten letter from her. And I'm not just talking a card. She sits down and she writes a letter. And every time I get this, I am so humbled and honored at what it means to her to show respect for the people in her life. I would not say we are, like, we're not exceptionally close. We don't, like, even probably over the course of this year, we've only spoken maybe once. And nowadays, it's so easy to just log on and be like, oh, it's this person's birthday. HBD, enter. Forgot, you don't even remember who you just said that to. There's so much instant gratification in our life now that the word honor doesn't even, like, it's actually hard to honor things these days because it's almost difficult, because honoring takes time. Honoring takes thought process. What do you do to honor those people around you? Giving a like on a story is not honoring someone, right? So spending time, and how do you honor your relationships? And then the other part of this is what is neighbor? What does a neighbor mean? When Gokai, when principles, when even commandments, when these things were written or established, let's say, the people next door could be your family. And if they're not your family, then they are the people you literally live next to. You may cook with each other. You may live next to each other. You may sleep with one wall dividing. It's a very close community. The person next door might be the person who makes the meat, and the person on the other side makes the cheese, and the other person makes the clothes. There was a very different... it was almost tied to doing your work was a part of being a part of this community, because we all work together to grow and be together. And whenever I'm working with this Gokai, I try and live in that space. I try and remember what that is like, because just saying literally, like, hello to a neighbor is not what this is about. I mean, it can be. Sometimes all you have to do is show simple kindnesses, and that will go a long way. But a lot of the things that are set up in our modern life are not really set up to use the word honor. So as we work through today, as you move through your day today, think about the people who mean things to you. What can you do to honor that relationship? And honor is something that is not just done, it's felt from the other side. So there's a lot of actions that we can do that could mean a lot to us, but does it translate to the other side? So think about what feeling the person on the receiving end is trying to feel. We're all, this means something different this year, we're all in this together, but we really are all in this together. Everyone around us, we choose our community, we choose our chosen family, we choose the people who we walk beside, we choose those people every day. And the people that you fill your day with are people who fill your day with energy. You get their energy, you give them your energy. Those are the people that are around you, that are fulfilling your day. So what do these things mean to you? And the last thing I want to say about this tenet before I move off of it is, in honoring all living things, often this entire Gokai gets sort of swept aside into, you have to be a vegetarian. And I think there's, like, yes, you can honor things, but you can also honor life cycles. There's a lot of different ways that you can honor all living things. I do think that you can stay at higher vibrations based on the things that you're eating and the way that you honor people around you. I do believe that. But, like, I will say I am not a vegetarian. I eat much less meat than I used to, for sure. But I do think that there are other important facets to this Gokai rather than just saying, I'm a vegetarian. That is also very different than honoring the people in your life. And I think it's important to remember both of these things. I just want to put out here that you're getting a lovely comment here from, the name is Richard. Let me see here. Dear Candice, seeing your sweet face and
Oh,
smile and feeling virtual presence makes me start on positive vibes. Miss you.
oh, Richard Thibault. It's been so long, friend. Oh, love you, miss you too. That's amazing.
So Candice, how do you honor your relationships? What is honoring your neighbor, all living things? Where does this sit with you?
I feel like one of my strengths in honoring the relationships that I have is that I try to, at least I try to. I mean, I think I get this feedback that I'm always a sounding board for the people in my life, and a lot of people come to me or show up in my life when they need someone without judgment to listen to them and just kind of like hear them out, maybe give feedback if they want it, but be a non-judgmental and accepting of whatever it is that they're doing, where they're going, what they're, how they're feeling person for them. Um, I find that that's a lot in my relationships. I feel like I try to honor my relationships with paying attention to the love language that they might have and how they receive and how they give, and be aware of that and try to be conscious of that and move within that. Because I feel like for everyone, it's very different. Like, if it's like verbal or touch, or like, I just try to be conscious of that and like be in that space with them. And I feel like that's a way of honoring my relationships. With honoring all creatures, I'm also not a vegetarian or a vegan, but I do make practice in seeking out alternatives and
Yes.
seeking out food that's handled properly, as in like in a healthy way, in a minimalist way. So if I'm going to spend more money, I'm going to spend more money on making sure that I'm putting food into my body that hasn't been tortured or pumped full of chemicals,
Yeah.
like just being realistic within those things. I'd rather spend my money on that than on something else. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm conscious of what the imprint that I'm leaving on the earth, and
Yeah.
in general, very, very conscious of that. And I try to keep that cycle flowing in a good way, for myself and my daughter. I think we're both very conscious and aware of all of those things, and we do everything that we possibly can, um, always. So yeah, I feel like that's how I try to function in a space where I'm honoring my neighbor in those. It's funny, actually, literally neighbors. My daughter felt the desire to write a weird, not weird, but like I don't know what it was, like some sort of like figure it out card
Oh.
for our neighbor. And she drew her favorite like the neighbor's favorite animals on it. And you had to like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't get it. She's like, oh, I'm going to tell her how to do it. And you like put it together like a puzzle and you can read
Oh.
the message. Anyway, so that's
Cool.
something that
I love your daughter,
I
by the way.
did,
She's on like another level. I love
right?
her so much.
So, and then also like, literally with our neighbors, I know that we can like maybe be loud with our like little dance parties and dancing up here all the time. So oftentimes we bake muffins for all of the neighbors on our side of the building, and Kiana walks around and we give those to everyone. That's something that we did during COVID as well, during the heavier lockdown in the winter. So that was nice. But yeah, I just think that like giving back and being aware and being a conscious person of how your actions and things behave. Like for myself yesterday, being in like a more of a shorter like temperament, it's like a conversation at the end of the day. It's just like I close the things, I take a minute, and then I'm going to have a conversation with the other person who's sharing the space with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like have a conversation and talk to her and like explain to her, like, not necessarily apologize, But, you know, if you do, I think it's important. That's something that's very, very important to like know when you have crossed maybe like boundaries of being emotionally unhinged at times, right? Like, not to say that that's what I was doing yesterday, but I think in a general sense, I think it's really important to just be aware and call yourself out and call yourself out to the people around you. And I think that it shows that you're being compassionate and caring about them while also caring about yourself and respecting yourself enough to just accept where you are in moments throughout your life and the days that are rolling, right? So I think that's how I try to honor my neighbor and my relationships
And you
all
do
the
a
things.
very good job of honoring Candice. You're an extremely thoughtful person. I think of someone close to us in our life, and you got a picture of her. You got a picture made for her that was very important to her, and you gave that to her for her birthday. You're a very thoughtful person. You do very, very nice things to honor your friendships. You're extremely good that way.
Oh, thanks.
You're a great friend.
Thanks. No, I'm always listening.
Yeah.
That random thing you said a long time ago.
Yeah.
I do. And here it is. I've gifted it.
All right. So before we move on today, there's a lot of wild energy in the field over the next 2 days. We have a solar eclipse coming.
Wait. I have to stop you.
Oh.
You didn't tell us how you were going to honor
your that's neighbor. True. I haven't spoken yet. Today, for me, I'm going to honor... I have to see a lot of people today, virtually, of course, because that's how our life works. But I have to see a lot of people today. And there are people that I see regularly, very regularly. And I'm starting to realize that I might be taking some of that for granted. So today I'm going to look at the different people in my life, and I'm going to sort of do an internal inventory, if that makes any sense. Like, what are my feelings like? Like, do I have clean relationship with all of these people? Do I, are there ways that, like, does someone provide for me a lot often, and I'm possibly either overlooking it because it might be something I'm used to or it's expected. I'm going to see what expectations I have from people and see if there's any blocks where I may not be honoring people, because our world is so fast-paced and virtual, and I feel like it's very easy to sort of, unfortunately, overlook some of these things. So I'm just going to take sort of an inventory today and look at the relationships that I do have, because I take a lot of pride in honoring my friendships. I really love people. They're like my favorite part of this whole mortal coil. I love human beings. So I really do want to see if there are places where I've sort of lost connection that way. That's my work today. So yeah, as we close up here today, there is all kinds of crazy energy going on. We have a solar eclipse this week. And we have a new moon, and Mercury is in retrograde in Gemini. Like, there's all kinds of stuff going on that are basically like wild swirling energies that can, like, it's basically the Hunger Games out here right now, people. So
odds are in your favor.
In your favor. Eclipse season always sort of has that, but luckily some of the grander energies are still actually in our favor. So when things are getting a little tougher, try and take that breath. And that's what we're going to be working on tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually called, traditionally called the dark moon. So we're going to be talking about using our breath tomorrow, and working through a little morning practice. We're going to use the 5 Gokai that we've been working on, and we're going to use those. And it's sort of what I do in the morning in order to set my space. And then next week, like, it'll kind of be the example tomorrow. And then next week, we're going to talk about how to make it work for us. So I'm really excited about that too. So be here tomorrow. Of course, we always have our guide for our different Gokai. And because today was about honoring your neighbor, there's a lot of cards you can choose for that. Of course, we have the world. There's a lot of cards that are about community. There are cards about that. But I chose... mine and Candice is probably and maybe our favorite card in the deck. I'm not sure. But it's up there. The 3 of Cups.
Okay.
The Three of Cups talks about the wolves that you run beside. It talks about your chosen family. It talks about the people who pick you up, the people who help you grow, the people who you are living alongside. And I chose this card specifically because we are honoring those people. And there might be people that we pick up, that we hold up, that we are not even aware of. There are people that may pick us up and they might not be aware of it. So I chose this card specifically for its energy, for its warmth, for the word honoring more than anything. So today we empower you to go out and look at the relationships that you have in your life and how can you honor those people. And we'll meet back here tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to go over how that all worked. Can't wait for that. Anything to add before we finish on up here, Candice?
Nope, I think I'm good. I hope everyone has a high vibe day so that you can have a high vibe life. Just keep it rolling.
I love it. Namaste, Soul Circle. Mwah.
Namaste. Much love.